All right. Okay, so cool. Um so in this video here, what are we going to do? We're going to start off we're going to start our uh album app project. We're going to employ Postman. Let me see if I can zoom in good. So you can see a little better here. Um what we're going to do, we're going to start off, we're going to create a workspace, and this is where our album app API is going to live. Okay. So what we're going to do to start off here, again, I have the desktop version up. I'm using the desktop app. If you're not using the desktop app, use the online version. I can tell you right now, you may have some things different from me. In which case, if you do, then I trust that you're going to figure it out on your own because I'm using the desktop app. So you should be following along with me. If you decide to do something different, uh, I'm not going to suffer. You're trying to figure it out. Okay. So do as I do. Especially since you're doing something new. And if you have some issues with that, then I can help you. But if you're going to do your own thing, then please, by all means, stay committed to that and do your own thing by yourself. All right, here we go. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new workspace. So up here, workspaces. Okay. Just click on that. And what we want to do is we want to create a new workspace. So I'm going to click here, create workspace. So right here, workspaces, click that. And then you want to click on create workspace. Let's see, get the most out of it. Say, yeah, all this stuff is good. Cause we want to be able to do all this stuff. Okay, then next. And then create workspace. Here we create a name for it. I'm gonna name this album app dash 2025. That's gonna be my workspace. Everything else is cool. Don't worry about this manage access. So what you can do is um you can set up I don't, it's not an environment, I forget what it's called. Uh but at any rate, everybody can meet and share the same um workspace, which means they'll have access to all your APIs and everything. You can do that. You can work on their project. You can work on yours. You can build together all this stuff. Anyways, I'm just naming this workspace and then click create. I will tell you right now. Also, some of the things here may be a little different. There may be some updates that I may not be familiar with. So just FYI, just letting you know that. But stay with me. We'll figure it out. Okay. Um, so here's an overview of our album app 2025 workspace. Just give you some stuff. You can add a description if you want to. I'm not going to worry about any of that. Also, you can pin collections. We're going to talk about collections in just a bit. But now, if you have that set up, you're good to go for right now. Okay. So, what we're going to do in this album app 2025 is in this workspace, we will handle all of our APIs, do the testing and everything, make sure everything works. Okay. Um, so, let's start off by again going back and making that uh that request that we made. Okay, so let's start that, and we're going to create a collection here. So down here where you see create a collection, you also there you can see this plus sign right here, so you can create a new collection there. I'm going to click right here, create collection. Okay, and this pops up. You can see here, new collection. This collection is empty. Add a request to start working. I'm gonna name this collection. I'll just say album dash app dash coll for a collection. That's just what I want to call it. I have no method behind that, but depending on who you work with and how you want to organize your stuff, you may want to put a little more thought into how you name your collections, whatever. Sometimes I just see you know, collection one, collection two, something real basic. But there's my collection. Okay, so what is a collection? A collection is a set of related um, API tests. Okay, and what we can do, we can group them all together, and we can run certain kind of testing on them to test like the overall performance of the API. This way we can run, you know, say multiple tests at once to check the speed on all of them, or make sure that, hey, can I run, you know, multiple connections at once? You know, what if I'm hitting the server multiple times? Um, can how will it perform? Will it slow things up? And if so, how can I fix it? That's you can use collections to help with that, because it just kind of organizes all of your requests. Okay, and you can see here there's documentation for collections. If you want to click on that, you can. Probably give you much more information than I can. And also you can see some recent changes, etc. All right, so that's that. We got that set up. Let me close these out. So now I want to be here. Okay. And the first thing I want to do with this is I want to add a request to start working. Okay. So let's come over here and get a new request. And we're going to do the very same request that we did inside of the last video. Okay. So, in other words, we're going to just get the albums. Okay. Now, here with this request right here, what we can do is we can name this request, and I usually name mine what it's doing. So I'll say get, and then I'll say get albums. Okay, because this one is going to get the albums. Hit enter, and then we can paste our URL here. So we already know from, you know, our work already. Again, if I come over here and I localhost colon 3000 slash API slash album, there's my albums. Okay, so I'm just gonna simply copy this. We already know what it is, so you can copy it if you have it working, or you can just type in the URL like so, and you probably want to do that anyways, and I'll show you what we can do with that. So http colon slash slash localhost colon 3000 slash API slash album. And again, I have this here. Notice that the name of the request is listed here. Okay. And then I can hit send, make sure that it works. I get a 200 status. Okay. Also tells me how long that took to have that response, 8 milliseconds. Okay. Once I see that all that works, okay, I'm going to click save. Make sure that it's tested, make sure it's working. You have a successful request. Okay. If not, check your URL. Make sure that your server is running. Okay. And check your URL. Once you got that, hit save. Okay. So now that request is saved. Cool. So that's one done already. Um, Now let's do we'll stay with the same endpoint. Okay, so now I want to do one where I get the, let's see, what do we have? Let's look in our album DAO. Where are you, album DAO? There we are. Or not album DAO, but album routes. So that was the first one. Now let's get the albums by ID. And that was one of the last uh get methods that we built. Yes, the previous couple videos. I want to say, I mean, for me it was yesterday, but you may not be watching this at the same time as me. Maybe you're watching these days apart or what have you. I don't know why you would do that. You should just be locked in. But anyways, so we're gonna run this one, this get underscore albums ID. Okay. And so let's run a test on that. So what are we gonna do? From here at the collections, at the collection level, I have these three dots here. So here I can click on that, and you can see what I can do is I can add requests, add a folder. We're about to do that in a little bit. And then, as I mentioned, you can run the collection, and we'll do that in a little bit as well, and do a bunch of other stuff. Okay. So we're going to add a request. And in this request, we're going to do what? What did we call it? Find albums by artist ID. So I'll just say here for the name of this request, get albums by artist ID. Okay. That's just what I want to name it, because that's the name of my method. So, or the, yeah, it's the name of my method. So I kind of want to keep these names the same. So I know I'm handling this correctly. All right. So here we go. That's going to be what? HTTP :// localhost colon 3000 / API / album / and then what? Get albums, get underscore albums / so get underscore albums / and then we could put an ID there. All right. So again, want to make sure this works. Put that in there, and then I'll hit send. And when I hit send, there you see, again, I have a 200 status response to 9 milliseconds. And there's my response body right there. Cool. I got it working. I'm going to save that one. So now that request is saved as well. And so now that is saved, I can do some other things. I can come here and I can change this value. I can, put a 1 there, 5, or anything else I want to do. All right. So far so good. Like we're building. And what I want to do now, before this gets too big, I want to start creating some folders. All right. And what I want to do is I'm going to make a folder that will handle, well, that where I will store rather all of my get requests for my albums. Okay. So what I'm going to do here inside of my collection, I'm going to click and add folder. Okay. And this folder, I'm going to name this folder album. All right. And inside this folder, guess what I can do? I can store a folder inside of here as well. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a folder, and I'm going to name this folder get. And this will store all of my get requests for the album table. So now I can move this by simply clicking on get albums and dragging it into the folder like so. Or I can click on the 3 dots. Oh, no, I can't. I was thinking I can click on the 3 dots and move. That would be just a little more cumbersome to do. So the easiest thing to do, cool, anyways, is to just click on the request and drag it into the appropriate folder. So now I have these 2 requests, get albums and get albums inside of my get folder, which is inside my album folder. Okay. So far so good. Let's add a few more and then we'll move to something else. Now what we want to do is we want to let's handle our sort. So we're going to create a new request. Okay. So I'm just going to come over here. Well, not create collection. I can click on it right here. I believe it, or I can come over here, click that up there, the plus sign up here, and I can create a new request up here as well. Okay. And here it says untitled request. I believe where can I rename it? I know there's a way we can rename this. Okay. So nope, that's not it. Oh, but this is cool. So you can see here, stumbled upon something. This is new, I believe. Um, as far as our requests, we're making HTTP requests, which I won't say it's the standard per se, but it is the most common kind of request since we're dealing with the web. But you can also see there's GraphQL, there's AI, and a bunch of other stuff. Okay. Let me see. I don't want to do it this way. I'm going to come over here inside of my Git folder. I'm going to click here, the three dots on my Git folder, and add a request because it's going to go inside of that folder. This one is going to be, see, Git albums, and I'll say sort. That's what I'm going to name this one. Okay. And again, type in the URL http://localhost:3000/album/sort. No, I'm sorry. API/album/sort. And let's say I want to sort by year_released. I hit send, and there you can see that it sorts all of the albums by year released. Okay, so that works. I'm going to save that request. All right, so now that one's saved. Cool. So now I'm building up my collection already as is, and it's working pretty cool. All right. Um so let's do this now. Now that we've got that in, well, I'll do the last one. So make a request, add new request, and this one's gonna get get album by ID. Okay. http://localhost:3000/API/album/ and then I'll put the number 4 right there. Hit send, and there's the album by ID. It works. Cool. Save request. So Robin, I see your comment. If you only got one album, that would indicate that one or two things. Okay. One is that you didn't add kind of blue to your database. Okay. Um, which that would be okay. I mean, if you didn't, because you can easily add that. Two, the other thing, which would be not too far worse, you just had to update it. You didn't add uh the artist ID, Miles Davis, whatever. He would not be included, in which case you would have to go and update that. So in other words, you did add kind of blue, but you didn't add the correct artist ID to it. In which case, you just have to update that. Um, All right, so yeah, so maybe it's not, you didn't add it to your database. Okay, so here we go. Now I have, as you can see here, all of my Git requests for the album DAO, all four that we've done so far. Okay, and again, we could do, more, but this is what we have so far. Okay, and I know that it's working. Cool. It got 200 statuses on all of them so far, so good. Okay. Whew, now what do we want to do? Notice here with all of these requests, we're using this essentially the same URL. This HTTP colon slash slash localhost colon 3000 API slash album, etc. Okay. What we can do is, and what we're going to do is we're going to create what's called an environment variable. An environment variable is basically just kind of like a variable, say in JavaScript, where we create a name, and store a certain value in there, and we just simply use that name um, instead of calling, the actual data. And we can do that at so many levels. We can do this from this folder level. Wait, I think, yeah. Let me see. Where can we do that? I want to do that. Environment. If I click on environments, no, not there. Again, because we change things up. If I come over here, let's see. If I click on create environment, yeah, yeah, that's what I do. Okay, so over here in the top right where it said environments, you click on that and create a new environment. And so with these variables, you can create them at the collection level, you can create them at the environment level, um, and you can also create them at the global level. Okay, and so let's do this. Yeah, we'll do it at the environment level. I think. Let me see. Mm, or do we want to do it at the collection level? Um, I think we could do it at the collection level. Let's see if I can remember how to do it at the collection level. Um, if not, we'll just do it at the environment level. Because I know we can do it at the folder level, at the collection level. Because I think if I, yeah, okay. So, if I click, yeah, that's right. If you click on the collection, so I clicked on collection, album dash, uh, app dash collection. And then you can see here, give some details. So we got 4 requests. Okay, blase, blase, blah. Up here at the top, you see authorization, scripts, variables, and runs. So you could do some auth type if you want to. Um, so say like a different kind of tokens, like a bearer token, jot token. That's the JWT Java, not JavaScript web token, JSON web token. Excuse me, OAuth, etc. AWS signature. So you can authorize these collections, so to add like a layer of protection on it, who gets, who has access to it, who can run these collections and stuff. Scripts, we haven't done any scripts, but we can write tests here inside of the request that we can run. So in other words, uh I can do some kind of debugging inside of the API requests. What we're going to focus on right now is the variables. Okay, so we're going to do that. Excuse me. We're going to add some variables to this, and let's see how it works. Okay, so what I want to do is create a variable for my URLs. Okay, and so what I'll do here is I'm going to name this variable URL like so. And then I'm going to give it an initial value. The initial value is going to be HTTP / localhost 3000 /API. And then hit enter. Well, click over there. And let me change that because I don't want to hit enter. Excuse me. So let me refresh that. Yeah, let me not have enter. Yeah, okay. Click over here. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I don't want that return there to mess things up. So here you can see I created a variable called URL, and the initial value is HTTP : / localhost 3000 /API. All right. Now that I've created that variable, I'm going to save this. So make sure you save the collection. You see this green dot right here. This indicates that this is where we are. And there's a pink dot up here. And depending on, your theme or whatever, yours may be a different color, but this is indicating, hey, this particular tab is not saved. I'm going to click save. And now you see it's gone away. All right, so we have added a variable to our collection. So this variable will be understood at the collection level, which means anything outside of the collection would not have access to this variable. So I see some people saying, I just see variable and value. So you clicked on this and then variable, initial value, current value, and you're in the collection, at the collection level. Make your changes. Okay, we'll look at it in a moment. And we'll see if I can help you. Let me get through this video and then we'll look at it. Okay, so I created my variable. All right, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back over here to my request. Okay, and so here my request, where I have this HTTP : / localhost 3000 /API, the same thing that I have in my variable. I'm going to delete that and I'm going to replace. I'm leaving the slash here. Okay, and to install your variable, 2 curly braces, and there you can see we have some global level variables, and that's why the G is here. And then we have this C right here. This is a collection level variable, and it shows you the initial, what it was initially, its current value, and then also the scope, meaning, hey, who has access to this? So I'm going to click on URL, and there now this variable is being read instead of localhost 3000 /API. I'm going to do a little test right here. Click send. Everything worked okay. So it's cool. I can save this. I'm going to go and change all of these to URL. Hit send. And I got an error right here. And I don't know what my error is. But it's slowed up. Let's see if I can fix this. What don't you like? Because get albums. Yeah, okay. And this is the exact same thing. I just type it out. See, URL. Close that. And what is the thing that you don't like? Oh, something went wrong. Yeah. Postman account. Okay, so one me. Close that up. Let's see to get tab. Oh yeah. Don't save. Let me try this again. The postman. Okay, let's see. Let me try this one then. URL. Okay, that one looked good. Send. Okay, cool. Save that one. I don't know what happened, but I'm gonna find out. URL. Cool. Save. Send. All right, that one worked just fine. Yeah, something happened with artist ID. Let me see. My okay, that looks okay. For some reason, get albums by artist ID. Got a little error here. So let's see what am I going to do to fix this? I don't know what I'm going to do to fix that. I'm just going to close that one up right now. Okay. So now, last thing I want to do in this video, okay, is I'm going to run a test on this collection. Okay. Let's see. Matter of fact, let me delete get albums. Let me just delete that one, and I'm going to add that back so you can see you can just easily delete a request. I'm going to add this back. Let's see. Get albums by artist ID. Okay. I'm going to say pass in URL / album / get albums, say /3. Gonna hit send. Okay, so that worked. Cool. Let me save that now. All right, so now it's back working. I don't know what that was, but I just deleted the request and typed it back up. But you see how easy it is. Okay. Now what I want to do is I am going to run this collection. Okay. So here at get, I click on the 3 dots and I'm going to click run. And here we can do a test. So what's it going to do? It's going to run this sequence. It's going to run get albums, then it's going to run get album sort, get album by ID, and then get albums by artist ID. So you can hear when we run this collection, we can set up how we want to run the collection. We can choose to run it manually, which is what we're going to do. We can schedule the runs. In other words, we can set different times of the day. So, maybe every 5 seconds, every, 20 seconds or what have you, every 30 minutes, whatever it is, we can run a specified time to run this collection on the Postman Cloud. We can also automate runs via CLI. In other words, like typing up in your command line, configuring how you'll run your collections, via your command line. We're just going to run this manually. Okay. So we're not going too deep with this. We can set up the iterations. I'm going to say, we're going to run 2 iterations. So it's going to run through this sequence twice. The delay, I don't want any delay. And then test data file if we wanted to. If we had like a JSON file or a CSV file, we could do that as well. Not going to worry about any of that. Just leave everything else the same. So I just run manually and just the iterations, how many iterations we're going to do. And then we're going to run album app collection. I click on it. And there you see, there's the duration of that particular collection. 467 milliseconds. Okay. All of them right here. The first iteration, the second iteration, all the tests. We can do a view summary. So there it is, and there's results. Like if anything, like some kind of error pops up or anything kind of weird happens, um, it would show up there. Okay. You see it. We have 0 pass, 0 failed, 0 skipped. We can run it again. Again, we can click automated run if we want to. You see that the average response time. Um, all that is happening here, and at this point, we may, well, we don't have to. We can stick with new environment, but you could create a new environment here. So this is cool because again, um, we can set, do our performance testing here, our runs, and check on them, see, how it's performing. We can, again, look at performance, run performance tests. Let's do that. I think what this does something different. Yeah, we would need a data file and all that. So I'm not gonna worry about that right now. But you could see here simulate the real world traffic from your local machine and observe the performance of your APIs. So you could do some really heavy testing right here to see how well your app performs before it's deployed. So you can run simulations, in other words, to say, hey, once I send this out to the real world, how will it be able to handle traffic, right? How could it handle 10,000 hits at the same time? Can it handle a million hits at the same time? Think about you know um instances like maybe election night, which we just had, and how many people are going to a either a news site or a social media application to check on results for elections. Um, think about, say something like Amazon. When I get, in theory, their Prime Day. I'm not a big Prime Day shopper. I think that's kind of goofy. There's really nothing in there. It's just like, oh, I got to have it. um, exactly, Natasha. Perfect example. When people are buying tickets, Beyonce says them tickets are dropping on a particular day at particular hour, and all y'all get on there to try to buy those tickets real quick. um, and it can crash based on the number of hits, But what you do is you come here to say postman, and as you're building your APIs, you can run tests on it to test the performance to see how well it can handle massive amounts of traffic. So you can do all that kind of stuff. I have to I forgot how to do performance. I know you gotta create a data file and do all kind of stuff, so we may or may not doing it. Yeah, Destiny, something like flooding the API, which is something that you want to do, because when you build it, you want to know its threshold, right? You want to make sure that it can handle massive amounts of traffic in the event that something happens. Or what is a threshold? What point is my app going to crash? you know and I need to be aware of that in the event that I can do something about it. Okay, so um it's cool. We'll stop right here with this video. This video ran a little bit longer than I would like for it to, but it's okay because we got a lot of stuff done. And we'll get back into this, and I guess what we'll do, we'll add the rest of um the DAOs in here. So in other words, band, artist, and label. We'll add those as folders and store our requests in there as well. So um again, I know some Postman. I don't know everything. And that's why I recommend in the previous video, uh, you also follow automation step by step. They're not paying me to do this promotion. I'm doing this because I really learned a lot from them, and I continue to learn things from them using their channel to help me with Postman. Basically, anything I learned from Postman, I've learned from automation step by step. So uh, you could check that out as well. All right. So with that being said, I will see you on the other side of this video.